Hey folks, Roland Martin here, host of Roland Martin Unfiltered, which you of course watch every single day, 6 p.m. Eastern. We stream on Facebook, YouTube, and Periscope, RolandMartinUnfiltered.com. Glad to be here to see all of you, all the students who are watching us all across the country and probably folks around the world, because there are international students who go to many of our universities. We're going to have a very interesting conversation here with SGA presidents. I want to introduce them right now. First up, Caitlin Thompson, representing Tennessee State University, the other TSU. Just messing with you. Rashad Marisette of Florida A&M University. I know one of the land grant institutions. I'm a graduate of Texas A&M University. So Rashad, glad to have you here. How both of y'all doing?
Amazing. How are you?
Doing great. So I want to first start off this way. Give us a sense from both of your perspectives how difficult this has been mentally and as well as economically for your fellow students in dealing with school being out, having to pack up real quick and race home, and then not being able to have graduations and all of those other pivotal moments or landmark moments that exist in the lives of college students.
I just want to go ahead and say that this pandemic definitely was, unexpected, and I always tell everyone, expect the unexpected. And we as student leaders have to be the voice, and people are watching us and wanting to keep us calm, everyone calm. This is tragic. It's crazy. Graduations are canceled, probates are canceled, people's grades. I mean, now that we're switching to online, it's very different than you are in class. Also, I know at my university, we are trying the best that we can to keep everyone updated, keep everyone safe, as we are just trying to make sure we're having events, also providing internet, also providing laptops for students that do not have, the accessibilities that they can, at home. But it's also hard too, because physical and mental health is very important, and we don't know what's going on in people's homes. And I recently saw an article, a 15-year-old committed suicide, and that really bothered me because, we don't know what's going on in people's homes. And that's why I know at other HBCUs, especially Tennessee State University, we have our counseling center as well. So it's just a lot, but we just got to keep going. We got to push through, and we have to be those student leaders and the voice to continue on, make sure our student straits and our administration.
I think at first a lot of students took it as a joke. We still went on spring, we still traveled, we still went out of the country, and then we noticed that the curve kept on going up. The spread of the virus kept on affecting, the numbers kept on growing. It went from hundreds of thousands, now we're probably in the millions. The death toll keeps on rising within the country, and I believe as universities across the country started to implement their remote instruction time periods and start to extend it for the remainder of the semester, that's really when students all across the country started to take this thing seriously. And now we are practicing social distancing. Now we do have our gloves and masks, and whenever we're going out to do little things like shopping at Publix or Walmart, it's something, the true impact of this is there's no way to measure it. Students are not getting the opportunity to experience things like Kate said, like probates, graduation being rescheduled or moving to virtual or just being canceled flat out. I think it's really a big disservice for students across the country, and it's hard for us to really communicate with administration because they're not in our shoes. Times have changed. They're not in our shoes. They don't really understand the particular necessities, the cool experiences that students are missing out on right now. And it's really it's tough. And as student leaders, we just have to do our part to make sure that we're not just sitting on our hands, but we're providing those essential services to students. Essential services now are laptops, now are mileage reimbursements for students who travel back home, are now to support the food pantries at our respective universities for those students who have lost their jobs, who are not able to provide for themselves. So I think leadership have to be versatile and agile to change the different needs of the student body across the country.
We're joined right now by LaVon Campbell Jr., Clark Atlanta University. LaVon, we're talking about, of course, the impact and just the mental and economic toll this is taking on students. And look, I remember when it was in March, my niece, Faith Marshall, was a freshman at Howard University, and she was, spring break was coming upon us, and I'm sitting here going, I'm not sure y'all going to return back for spring break. And so I'm hitting the university president and saying, look, what's really going on here? Y'all need to pack up all her stuff And they said, yes, move out. And so she's like, oh my God, this is not how I want to end my freshman year. And I just had to tell her, look, baby girl, I understand, but I would rather have you alive as opposed to chancing what's going on here. So, LaVon, how have you been? What have you been hearing from students when it comes to how they're dealing with this international pandemic?
Well, really, just hearing from students from all over, because we're used to a certain atmosphere and environment at an HBCU campus. So especially when we're talking about the springtime, that's where literally you see a majority of probates. You see a lot of activities on campus where students can really just come and be involved, have a lot of resources, and it's affecting a lot of students because when we're at home, we don't have access to these resources when we're home. Even though they're online, we still don't have the same feature and physical access. So that's one of the main things that a lot of students have been dealing with. But we're still just making sure, working with our administration, because it's a team effort, because some of them, they're not in the same position as students, because we're here. We understand what's going on. Us, especially us being student leaders, us being SJ presidents, we have the voices of our students. Our students are literally reaching out to us, supposed to reaching out to higher administration, because we're literally there. So really just keeping that communication going to the higher administration, let them know, like, this is what the students need, this is what the students want. But truthfully, with the online system going online and not having a physical presence, is truly what's affecting the majority of our students.
One of you talked about, I think it was Caitlin, talked about, again, what's happening in terms of all of a sudden with online instruction. And the reality is, what this thing has exposed is that universities were not even remotely prepared for this. I mean, you had students who were actually giving professors instructions on how to log on and how to connect to Zoom. And so this thing has also exposed this gap, this technology gap that also exists with so many different people, because people assume, oh, you're a college student, so you're connected. So as you said, you've got a laptop or an iPad, but we now even see across the country in Dallas, 40% of the students in the school district didn't have access to internet. And so this is really exposing the inequities in our system, regardless of whether it's elementary school, middle, high school, or college.
Right.
I think you're absolutely right. FAMU, we serve a certain demographic of 93% of our students are on some form of financial aid, with over 60% of our students receiving the Pell Grant or some form of the Pell Grant. So when you have 93% of your students on a need-based scholarship from either the state or the federal government, what does that tell you about their home or their background or where they're coming from? And now that, we're forcing students to go off campus or go back home, let me not say force, but we have to our students to go back home, you don't know what home looks like. Not everybody grew up with the privilege of having internet services at their house. That's why I'm really glad that internet providers like Xfinity and AT&T are doing their part to support students in this time of need. If you're watching and you did not know this, I believe they're providing free internet services for an extended period of time, for those students who are not able to afford internet service. It's not just the LTE thing. It's not just you can't download Microsoft Word on your iPhones and be able to complete your work assignments on Blackboard or Canva or whatever online platforms that students are using. And you just have to be resourceful at this time. If you're a student, you gotta be resourceful and open your mouth and ask for support. Reach out to your professors, because I believe every university across the nation, or majority of them, have some kind of emergency support for the students, and that emergency support will provide you with laptops, will provide you with access or means to, be able to complete your work online during this remote instruction period. And I'll let one of the presidents take back off of that.
I would say I'll agree most definitely. I think this situation just truly allows for all of us. It also allows for all of us to come together in a sense, because now even though we're further away from each other, we're all being affected by the same thing. And this never has happened to any of us while we've been alive in such a pandemic, that it's affecting the whole world. So allowing for all of us to see the needs that we all need, allowing us to bring our resources together, even such an amazing conference like Watch the Yard is presenting, to allow all of us just to come together and see what our students need and to uplift one another inside this situation.
And one thing I can say, it's harder now because it's like we're forced to get out. But definitely, like as she said, like we're all coming together. This is I haven't seen, which we're already a big blue family, but we're closer than ever than we were before, all because of this pandemic. And it's like we're having more meetings, we're having more events through Instagram or TikTok. It's just absolutely amazing to see how we're taking a negative into a positive. And that's the most important thing.
How are we being affected by the pandemic? What is our schools doing?
So at Norfolk State, we are actually engaging with our students, using our schools. We are also utilizing our Twitter page for SGA, communicating with the students more and more in depth. Since we can't physically give them the news and the announcements, it's just brought our school together as a family.
So to all of you, obviously realizing what the shortcomings are, how people are dealing with this here, the reality is that a lot of people who go to summer school, we're going to be dealing with this June, July, August, potentially going through the end of the year. What advice do you want to give to presidents, university administrators, boards of trustees on what they need to do to prepare for the next 7 months, or potentially some people are saying that until we have a vaccine, we're going to be dealing with safe distancing and other measures through 2022. What do you want these presidents, administrators, and boards of trustees to be doing to prepare for this over the long haul? Any one of you can answer.
I definitely would love to answer that question because a lot of the SGA presidents, we are in constant communication with each other, and we definitely agree with the ACT and the SAT. That needs to be waived. That definitely needs to be waived. It's not fair. A lot of resources that students were having aren't there anymore. Also, with our grades for our current peers right now, every university is different, but we feel like administrators should, accommodate us because some students are not prepared to do strictly online. And a lot of administrators say that's an excuse, but really it's not an excuse because at the end of the day, this is a pandemic going on and you don't know what's going on in anyone's home. Also, with that being said, I feel like things should be still going on in like how it is, but I know for my school, our elections have paused. We're not starting elections until school starts back up. So definitely giving those opportunity to the people that are going to be running. They need to do everything. Accommodate them. I really feel like the schools need to do that and accommodate housing. I know we have housing fees. I feel like we got kicked out. Why are we doing that? I feel like reimbursement should be going on only because this is a pandemic. This is going on, and I feel like everyone should be accommodated. And of course, we get some accreditations and this and that. Every university is different, but at the same time, that could go left if you don't want to do it right.
I'll say almost the same thing, but really just make sure they're keeping the students informed and keeping us especially with the SJ presidents and the SJ leadership team, just keeping them informed and keeping us informed in regards to what happens on campus. I can't say for at least Clarkland University, in regards to President French, he has been listening to our students and our board of trustees, making sure that we're getting exactly the things that we need. So we're getting our refunds back from the semester in regards to housing and the additional fees. They listened to us in regards to our pass-fail system because students get to opt in whether they want a pass-fail system or keep a regular grading system. Because one thing that a lot of administration really wasn't understanding, that if we have kids that are in California and you have an Eastern time zone, that's a 3-hour difference. So you have a lot of people who are being affected by the time zone, but really for the administration to still listen to the students, and which they already are doing right now, but still make sure while the communication is going out and while this pandemic is lasting, that we're keeping that communication going with the student body. And that's truly all. As long as the students are really being heard and the students are being listened to, then I think we'll be able to move forward as a team, because it is a team effort. It's not one person who's going to run the show. It's going to be the students, administration, board of trustees, everyone together to keep everything going.
I think it's very important for school administrations and the boards to keep everything transparent and open communication. So as housing, one of our housing policies at Norfolk State, basically we're going to tell our students that they had to evacuate their room and board. I mean, not the room and board, but evacuate the residence hall. And so the power of advocacy and what we did as students, we have to make admin needs to be understanding of all students in all places, especially during this time. We also have to make sure that the population of our students, some of our students are first generation college students, so they're at home, and it's not that they have the physical resources that they would have on campus, and some people might not be able to go and ask for help about this class or things such as that. So I just want the administrations to be open-minded about anything and everything.
Okay, we got 3 minutes left, and so I want each of you to answer this question before we wrap this segment up. And that is, one of the things that we have seen is that this moment has unleashed the creativity of so many people, because at the end of the day, you got to figure it out to make it happen. And so, just an example from each one of you. What has been the most creative thing that you have seen, either from a university standpoint, a student standpoint, a fraternity, sorority, student group, whatever, to stay connected? The most creative thing that you've seen so far. What? Y'all can't, question too hard?
Okay, yes.
I want to say the most creative thing that I really, really love and appreciate, because it hits all HBCUs and PWIs, is definitely the obstacle award. Those was absolutely amazing.
I honestly would agree. I would agree. The Oscar Awards was probably the best thing. Our Miss Clark Atlanta, Aretha Bernard, and our new Miss Clark Atlanta, Maya Crocker, and they just did an Oscar Award for Miss CAUs, and it was amazing. So I will say the Oscar Awards have been amazing.
One of the more creative things that I've seen is FAMU. We're actually in the midst of our campaign season. We're actually able to implement some new policies and procedures thanks to student leadership and student government, the Electoral Commissioner, and Office of Student Activities. And for the first time in its 133-year history, we're having completely virtual online elections, campaign period, voting day, everything's online. It's been crazy. And I tell you, I already think, let me not say think, I already know that we're the most creative HBCU out there. But now our students, they unleashed their potential.
Oh, you trying to start something.
So I don't know about
It's
FAMU,
just
but at
facts. I'm
Norfolk
sorry.
State,
It's just
at
facts.
Norfolk
It's okay.
State,
We all know that FAMU campaigns are on another level, and now there's just been elevated. We've got different Q&A sessions online. We've got parties online. We've got DJ battles online. TikTok. It literally, if I scroll down my timeline right now, it's literally something new from a candidate, something new from a FAMU student, and it just fills me with pride that our students wear our FAMU right on our chest like that. You feel me? So that's about it.
we did a virtual Spartan Fest, the first time in NSU history. And we combined it, all the ideas that we were supposed to do physically, and we put it basically virtually. So we've had DJ battles, things using TikTok challenges, don't rush challenges, everything. And, shout out to the illustrious Norfolk State.
Let me just shut all that down right now. Big shout out, Caitlin Thompson, Tennessee State University, Richard Morrisstead, Florida A&M University, Levon Campbell Jr., Clark Atlanta University, Lanai Woodson, Norfolk State University in Virginia. I want to thank all of you for being here. Let's shout out to Wassa Yard for YARDCON, #YARDCON. Appreciate y'all asking me to do one of these segments here. And don't forget, it's 5 days a week, Roland Martin Unfiltered. We're streaming 6 p.m. Eastern, covering Black America like nobody else. And so that's how we do it. And yeah, I've had professors from all of y'all universities on, so no one school is better than the other. All right, folks, we appreciate it. Jonathan, back to you.
Bye.
Bye, guys.